It's so nut-worthy. I'm almost there. Oh, at the right. Oh. What's going on, people? Guns blazing back at it again, and recently I tried out some pendulum stuff. This right here is a basic Zefra deck. I know this deck usually goes 60 cards and runs multiple archetypes, but for the sake of simplicity, we're only going 40 today in case you're fresh to this, and so you can see it's pretty solid even in its base form. And in future videos, we'll explore the more fat variants. Now, a unique strength of this deck is its ability to search out 2 Omni-Negate traps, just like how you probably search for traps online in your free time. Searchable negate back row is something a lot of decks would kill to have, and on top of that, you even have some monster Omni-Negates. The deck is able to pump out 3 or 4 of these negates consistently with minimal resources, and that is already pretty hard to deal with for most decks. And of course, as you've already seen, you have very little to worry about in terms of board clearing spells. Also, for the waifu fans, I'm not sure if Zefraath is considered a female creature, but either way, a thigh is a thigh, and Zefraath has thick ones, so I'll let you examine their card art at your own time. And as always, having your negates spread out between your monsters and your back row makes you less susceptible to stuff like Kaiju, Lava Golem, and even board-breaking spells and traps like Evenly Matched, Dark Ruler No More, and Forbidden Droplet. This opponent managed to drop a fat deuce on me with a Lava Golem, taking out both of my monster Omni-Negates, the Arclight and the Borreload Savage, and even tried to go for an Evenly Match on top of it. Good thing I had the Zefra Divine Strike to back me up, and the 9 Pillars of Yang Zing is going to prevent me from getting summon limited. Admittedly though, a weakness of this specific build is that it doesn't have many innate options going turn 2 aside from a couple of Stellarknight cards, and there is very little room to put in going second cards unless you sacrifice some consistency. At this point, going 60 to put in more gas is probably the solution. Anyways, let me briefly go over the potential and key cards of this deck. Don't worry, I'll go over the full basic combo slowly later if that's what you're interested in. Destrudo is great in this deck. It can be used to start or extend your combo. We sent it to the graveyard with Dragon Shrine. And Zefraath is a very flexible pendulum scale that can go low or high and add a pendulum face up to your extra deck at the same time. Pretty much our most important card. Now, any 2 monsters, including 1 tuner, will go out into your bread and butter combo, starting with your Fiber, which summons Deskbot and goes out into Auroradon, then allowing you to token spam, and eventually the Deskbot and 1 token will turn into Arclight, and then you use the Auroradon effect to fish out the O-line from the deck, which you can turn into Danglong, which searches your 3rd negate, the 9 Pillars. And you can go ahead and use a token to climb it up into Borreload Savage, which can have 3 negates over 3 turns thanks to Auroradon. Of course, the 9 Pillars of Yang Jing does require a Yang Jing monster or any other Yang Jing card to be able to destroy as cost, but you always have one thanks to the effect of Danglong. But this is a special case because we can use our Pendulum Scale for the 9 Pillars, and we also have Destrudo in grave, so we can extend this play a little more, use the extra Yang Jing monster to go out into our Dawn Dragster. And that's a nice little spell trap negate on top of our 4 Omni negate. As for why they're all in attack mode and not playing around any Lightning Storm or droplets, well, there's a very important reason. All attack mode all the time. Because I'm aggressive. I'm an aggressive player. I never back down. Herald of Arclight, aggression. O-Lion, aggression. Danglong, 0 attack, aggression. Anyways, at this point it's pretty much no dot deck. You don't even really have to think anymore. Just negate the first things you see. Maybe use Dragster and Borreload Savage because their negates do refresh themselves while your other ones are 1 use. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Pendulum decks, people sometimes have this idea that they're extremely complicated and too tough to learn, but you can always just go with something simple like this. After learning the few basic mechanics, it's pretty much just your average combo deck. Poor opponent just wanted to enjoy some Dragon Maids, but unfortunately today I am a very big bully. Anyways, again, this is the archetype broken down into a very simple deck form. 40 cards just here to get you a taste of Zefra pendulums. You got the O-Lion, Deskbot, your important combo tuners. You hope you don't open with them, but at least there's ways to unbrick them. These Stellarknights are probably the only things I didn't really get to showcase that much. but they can just simply be used anytime your opponent already has a board, and they can take down one face up or face down card respectively. If you want room for going second cards, you can take out a Dragon Shrine or a Destrudo or two, and or one of the non-core pendulum scales. But of course, expect to see a couple more breaks if you do that. You do have some room to play around with different synchro monsters if you don't really care about these link packages. But apart from that, deck list in the description as usual, and pretty much every other card we've already explained or will go over in the following examples. Here's our standard full opener. This is a pretty fortunate opening hand. Already got some nice P-scale action, and we even have the field spell which can search any other Zefra from our deck. If you already have Zefraath and Zefraxi, you can go Zefraniu, and if you already have Zefraniu, you can go Zefraxi. Anyways, remember, Zefraath can go high pendulum scale or low pendulum scale. I want Zefraath to go low scale though, so I'm going to use a high scale here. Can also use Zefraniu as a scale, but I want to be able to get Zefraxi from the deck and put it to my extra deck face up, in the case that I don't already have one. So let's say I had Zefraniu but no Zefraxi. I want to be able to summon both. Let's just pretend this Zefraxi from hand doesn't exist at the moment. And let's go ahead, summon Zefraxi from extra deck and Zefraniu from hand. And it doesn't matter what order you activate these effects in, really. Probably chain link one to Zefraxi if I really had to choose. Zefraxi turns your other monster into a tuner, which is key for going out into our fiber. And Zefraniu just searches our first negate, which is a Zefra Divine Strike. By the way, yeah, this is against AI, but this is just an example. And it's probably easier to see it in a player view instead of just in a replay. Anyways, you're going to go out into your fiber here. There's actually many ways to salvage this if you didn't get those two monsters. You can normal summon an Ash, which is also a tuner, or hopefully you got a Destrudo. But anyways, you're going to pick up your Deskbot, special summon it onto the field, and then link climb these up to your Auroradon. Auroradon will summon 3 tokens, and the Deskbot will trigger because machine monsters were summoned, and so it can summon itself back from the grave. And we're going to be able to use every single token plus Deskbot here. It's not too hard to remember after you've done it a couple times. All you need to know, we're going to turn 1 token and the Deskbot into the Arclight. So that is our second negate. And then we're going to use Auroradon's second effect, the middle one right here, to special summon 1 Mecha Phantom Beast from the deck, sacking itself and a token. And with those two, the O-Lion that we summoned from the deck and the last token, we can go ahead and make Denglong. Now here, probably chain link 1 the O-Lion, and that way you can always get the token out and then climb into your Borreload Savage no matter what happens. Denglong is just going to search 9 Pillars of Yang Zing. That's going to be your third negate. And if you have the Yang Zing already in your hand, it's not a problem. You can still +1 by searching a monster. And now we turn these two into Borreload Savage, using the token that the O-Lion spawned from the grave. Now here, probably Borreload Savage first as usual, so that you can get him boosted up and get his negates online. The Yang Zing, all it's going to do is special summon another Yang Jing from your deck, and that will get you the ability to use your 9 pillars if you don't already have a Yang Jing as a pendulum scale, which we don't have one in this case. And there you go. You can achieve this pretty much like 70+% of the time. 2 monster Omni Negates in your Arclight and your Savage, and 2 Trap Omni Negates. And let me also show you an example follow-up turn, because, you know, you negated a few stuff, but your opponent's still there. You can finish them off on turn 3 pretty easily. Right off the bat, I just reset my Zefraath's pendulum scale, making it a low scale once again. If the other P scale is low, then you make it high, obviously. Now, if you just have another Zefraxi and Zefraniu lying around, you can summon both of them once again with Pendulum Summon. Turn the level 6 into a tuner once again with Zefraxi, and use Zefraniu to search whatever you want. There is another Zefra back row, Zefra War, which you can actually activate from your hand. I pick up Providence here. Providence also has an additional effect where if it's in the grave, it can protect your Zefras from destruction one time by banishing itself. And I use it as an in-between to go into the war that I was talking about so that I can have that protection. And here I can simply go out into Ravenous Croco Dragon with a 6+3. And when your field spell is active while you have this, you can do a little combo where you can pretty much search any monster, including hand traps, by using Croco Dragon Chain Link 1 and the field spell. The field spell puts any monster on top of your deck, and the dragon lets you draw one card, so it's essentially a search. So you can go out into Ash for hand trap or Ghost Ogre, whatever. Or you can go Destrudo if you want to extend your play a bit. Let's go Destrudo because, we need a little more oomph to get that full 8k damage. And Destrudo can pretty much select either one of these because either way it's going to go out into a level 7 Synchro. I'm just going to choose the level 6 obviously because it has 0 attack, so I'm trying to Synchro that off. Go ahead and make Yazi or Dragster. Yazi is going to give us lethal here against this oh so very difficult opponent. But anyways, we did the breakdown more slowly this time. Let me know if this is helpful to break it down more slowly like this instead of just at replay speed. If it's actually helpful, we'll keep doing it in future videos. If not, then whatever. Now let's teach you some other possibilities that can happen with this deck. If you don't need Destrudo as a tuner, you can use Dragon Shrine to send this monster instead. Here we opened with O-Lion, which is not optimal. Some people run 2 to avoid this, but you can unbrick it by normal summoning it and going out into your Needle Fiber this way. Obviously, this means that down the road, you can't use Auroradon's effect to special summon a Mecha Phantom Beast, which really messes you up, but you can do an alternate play here, which is instead of making Arclight, you have to go out into your Yazi, use Auroradon's effect, sack a token, and destroy the Yazi, and you can go out into Mare Mare. Mare Mare is going to summon as many tokens as you need, so just use them maximum times here. And you can go ahead and use Mare Mare and a couple of the tokens to make your Borreload Sauvage. And obviously this is on the lower end of the hands you'll get. We didn't even get any Pendulum Scale action in here, but fortunately our opponent bricked as well. And here, since we kept the Auroradon, we can easily link climb into an excess code Talker, which will get 5300, be able to pop, and easy lethal. As I mentioned before, if you're not able to get out both of the Zefra Pendulum monsters out onto the field so that you can use them as a tuner and +1 to link your fiber, then you can use Destrudo. This will get you exactly the same thing, except -1 Zefra Divine Strike if you didn't manage to get a Zefraniu out. And another option, you wouldn't believe it, but Ghost Ogre is also a monster and a tuner, so you can just normal summon him if it really came down to that, or your Ash Blossom. Pendulum's best deck. Let us go. Also, sorry for the overall low quality of enemies in this video. This is on an alt, so I was still climbing it up a bit. Here's a Croco Dragon field spell search thing once again. But all you'll have to expect when facing tougher opponents is you'll need that Called by the Grave to make sure that your combo goes through, obviously. And still, it's the same thing. 90% if you go turn 1, you win. 90% if you go turn 2, you lose. It's just one of those decks. Here's another little thing you can do, and this is if you have like multiple summons available in your Pendulum summon. Like here had 3 of them. So Zefraxi, Zefraniu, and Zefrawendi, I think. As usual, I'm going to pick up the Divine Strike and turn one of them into the tuner. The one I don't use as a tuner, and the one on top, we'll turn those into Electrumite to search Astrograph Sorcerer, and summon the Astrograph Sorcerer once we add it to our hand onto the field. And I can also draw 1 card, thanks to Electrumite. Then I can turn the tuner and the Electrumite into Needle Fiber, and this will go out into the usual combo, except now you have an Astrograph Sorcerer on the field, and you add 1 more card in hand. And that whole combo line is the same until you get your Borreload Savage out, and of course Danglong summons a monster onto the field. And here's a very rare case where we have the Mare Mare in the hand, so we can just tribute summon for it. And this is arguably worse actually, because we have now +1 spell and trap negate, but we can't use our 9 pillars anymore. But that's okay because I summoned a giant seahorse which reproduced babies while on the battlefield.